My name is Catherine Stowe. I'm a Master's of Landscape Architecture student, and with me today is Gina Ford. She is co-founder of Agency Landscape and Planning, where she is the principal landscape architect. This interview is part of the University of Texas School of Architecture Lecture and Exhibition Series and is sponsored by the Camera Lectureship in Architecture, the Lecture and Exhibitions Committee, and Dean Michelle Addington. So we wanted to hear more about how you got into landscape architecture and the trajectory that took you from school to Sasaki and then to starting your own firm.
Great. Well, thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here, especially being interviewed by one of my fabulous students. I went to undergraduate at Wellesley College for architecture. It was a joint program with MIT, so I did a kind of architecture and architectural history course load as an undergrad, and had a really hard time finding a job out of that education because it wasn't an accredited architecture degree, and it was sort of an unknown degree. It was a Wellesley College BA in architecture. And so I asked one of my professors from MIT, I said, where should I work? I can't find a job, no one will interview me. And he said, I think you should go talk with Sasaki. And I still don't know why he thought that, but I went and I interviewed. And in the course of being interviewed, they realized that I was really apt at CAD. AutoCAD was sort of brand new on the market. It was in the late 90s. There weren't a lot of people that really knew how to do it, and so I got a job as a CAD drafter / landscape designer at Sasaki, where I stayed for 3 years. And in the course of that 3 years, really came to see and appreciate landscape architecture, which was new to me. And I just thought it was so fantastic, this profession that got better over time. The work we make grows into itself, and I love learning about plant material and weather and its impacts on the systems that we design. And so then I went and I got a master's in landscape and went back to Sasaki and was there for, in total, close to 21 years. I was a principal in that practice and on its executive leadership team for a while, which was great. And then in 2017, decided to make this leap to agency.
Quick question, at what point did you even learn about landscape architecture? Was that when you interviewed at Sasaki or before?
It was when I interviewed at Sasaki. They interviewed me and I was looking for a job in architecture, and they were like, they offered me this job in landscape, and I didn't know. I went in, one of my first projects was with Stu Dawson, who's a master in the profession, who went on to be my mentor. And Pete Walker, and they were collaborating on this project in Columbus. I had no idea who they were. I was just drawing paving patterns, and all the other landscape architects were like, oh my God, Pete Walker's here, oh my God, and I was like, I had no idea. And so it was really learning on the job. Yeah, it was great.
That's so cool.
It was great, and learning from a master, it was like really an extraordinary little bout of luck.
Absolutely. I wonder if you had kind of a fresh take on things. Do you feel like you had any sort of influence, not knowing kind of like the typical way that landscape architects do things, or like came to it with a fresh set of eyes, basically? Maybe a little more curiosity. Like I remember one of my mentors at the office used to walk home with me because we lived a few miles from the office, so we would walk sometimes. And she was an older, established landscape architect, and she would be teaching me things along the way. So I was like, she talked about like why pavements fail or why this particular tree was struggling. And so I think I just had a lot of curiosity because I wasn't trained in it, and I was working in it to learn as fast as I could, as much as I could, which I think is good in any job. You're just really curious about what you're doing. That shows in your work and how you approach us as a studio. And when we were in Boston, there was clearly, you surround yourself with curious people.
That's right.
That was very, very apparent.
We call it the coalition of the willing. My friend thinks that everyone needs to be sort of on, when you're really into what you're doing, you want other people that are really into it too. You met some really extraordinary people who are definitely willing.
Lots of artists and just people who are thinking outside the box.
Cool.
So as in the name of your company, Agency, at what point in your career education did you realize how important equity was, or did it always feel inherent to your work?
I think I went back to Sasaki after I got my master's degree, and I pretty quickly became a principal, and I became a principal in that practice in 2007. Same year I had my child, and right before the big recession of 2008, which was a really good time to be new to leadership. And my first project that I marketed and won as a principal was this little project in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, which then went on to have one of the worst floods in U.S. history. And we went, and as the leader of that team, from a design perspective, I helped shepherd in 4 years of planning in flood recovery. And then that led to a whole lot of flood recovery and disaster recovery work, rebuild by design, a project in New Orleans called Changing Course. And I think it was through all of that work that you just come to see that the systems of inequality in our systems and our cities, that the people that are most impacted by disaster are those that often have the least resource to be able to bounce back. And you just go through that a couple of times with a couple different communities, whether it's the populations of color that are disproportionately impacted, or folks with less access to money, or second home, like renters versus homeowners. You see all of these patterns of inequity in the way our cities operate, and then you're also working disaster situations and resilience in community engagement, and you learn more and more about how unlevel the field is for so many people. And so it was really through that work, I would say, that Bree, my business partner, and I increasingly became aware that we wanted to have a practice that really tackled that more directly.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. If you sought Bree out, or if it was just kind of a natural, I don't know, coming together of forces that decided to tackle a project from this well-rounded perspective.
Yeah, so Bree was, I started at Sasaki in 1997. I think Bree started in 2007. She had a different history than me and came with a different set of experiences to Sasaki. And our first project was Cedar Rapids. She was a planner on that project, and I was the landscape architecture design principal. And we started working together, and the more we started working together, the more we liked working together and wanted to work together. She's a planner. She's like high level, strategic. She's really good with people. She's really good with organization and systems of organization and sort of like demographics and big picture thinking. And then I'm much more able to sort of ground things and design and think about the physical environment. So we just had this really nice partnership. It really came to a crux to a head on Rebuild by Design, where she and I were really the two leaders of that project. And shortly after, she became a principal in that practice. And so we were peers within that group for a while. And it was just intuitive. It was sort of like when we decided to start this business, nobody that knew us was really shocked. We had just come to a place. Yeah, and I remember thinking when we did Rebuild by Design that she was like my soulmate, my work soulmate. Like I found this other person. And I have lots of people that I love collaborating with, but she and I really just see things differently enough, but come together about the big things that we can really complement each other and sort of move the ball forward. So it's been great. It's been great.
Yeah, you can tell in the culture of your firm and the people who work there, and then obviously the work that you guys do.
Yeah, yeah, it's a pretty special moment for us as a practice, and I'm really grateful for her every day. I think it's a unique thing. We decided to leave Sasaki together. We gave notice together. We started this business together. Everything we do now is together, and I think it's been just a really extraordinary opportunity to grow so directly with another person, and then to grow a practice around that and say, what would this look like if we took all of the ambitions that we've had in this past decade of working together, equity, resilience, community engagement, design excellence, feminism, these things that we share, and really put them into practice. And so that's been great.
Do you think that coming from such a large firm like Sasaki to starting your own thing, I'm sure you experienced, probably some sort of fear or something of like, okay, how successful is this going to be? So from like a business perspective, how do you go forward thinking like we're doing this, this is going to work? What kind of keeps you going?
Yeah, well, we last year we were at Sasaki, we were working on kind of defining a market there, that the more we did that work together, the more we saw this other potential future, which we started talking about lightly and then aggressively, and then we made this decision, which was really hard, because Sasaki's an extraordinary place, and there's an incredible team there, and we were doing incredible work. It was like everything, but we saw this other potential, which was just different enough that we couldn't see it working at Sasaki in this way. And so we made this decision, and it was really scary. It was like, I talk about it being like our Thelma and Louise moment, where we're like, all right, well, here it goes, you know, leaping to our maybe death. And so we the first year we came with a lot of clients and work. We collaborated actually with Sasaki quite a bit our first year on projects, which was great. We had a really nice transition into agency. And then we had a really extraordinary second year where we just had a lot of really nice project wins. So far so good. But yeah, it was really scary. I thought, you know, what if all this work getting us to this point, these like decades of practice, don't result in the success of this next practice, or you know, but I think again, once we saw what this new practice could be, it was really hard to sit in a place that wasn't that, you know, we just had to try it. And so it was sort of worth the risk. And yet we only live once. And you know, I'm of an age where I'm 44 years old, and I just thought, you know, there's these eras of your career. If I didn't do this now, it would never happen. And then I just had to do it.
It's very admirable.
Thank you.
I'm so into it.
Oh, I'm so into it too. And it's been a joy. Like it's been scary, and it's been like lots of new things that we didn't do before. You know, Bree's like Madam HR and head planner, and I'm Madam CFO and head landscape architect, and so we've grown these new skills that we didn't have before, but then at the same time we also have all of this free time now, freed of kind of like bigger culture challenges and politics, into doing something that's really focused. And so it does feel more expansive, even though it's more challenging.
You get kind of the autonomy allows you to grow in ways that you feel more pulled to, instead of like, well, I gotta keep worrying or going towards this.
And also, like in a big company, there's this real strength and capacity and breadth that just was over and over again at Sasaki, such a joy and such a blessing. But there's also like, there's a challenge in that too, in that when you have an idea, and for me, like ideas are energizing and urgent, like once I have them, I'm like, oh yeah, of course that's what we have to do. In a big company sometimes, and that's not to disparage it at all, but it takes a while to build consensus. And so it's a little freeing, it's very freeing that Bree and I will text you, hey, we're going 2 thumbs up, you know, so the decision making is so
more fluid,
and also it just comes from such a place of like confidence and knowing that we have an idea about what our business is, so it's easy to make decisions. We're like, of course that's what we would do, you know. It's been very rare that we've had something where we just are on the fence, you know. It's usually pretty clear, it's like a no or a yes right away.
Clear direction. That's cool. Okay, let me ask one more question, kind of a double question.
Okay.
As an agent of purposeful and positive change, what are your core principles that drive your design and business? And could you somehow exemplify that in a project?
Yeah, so we talk about community resilience, community engagement, cultural vitality, the sense that cities are really the place where cultural vitality comes to life. We are core values, we do all public work. We're careful to say it's not all public clients per se, but work that's benefiting the public good. And I think really importantly, Bree's a planner, I'm a landscape architect, we love a sort of range of scale, right? That you can think about those issues at a citywide scale, regional scale, all the way down to like choice of a material or a specific product. And so if I were to say there were any project, it's not one, it's 3. We're doing 3 projects in the city of Charlotte right now. We're doing a 1/3 of an acre plaza downtown renovation, a 23-acre historic park, which I showed you guys, Independence Park, and the system-wide county plan for Mecklenburg County. So it's 3 projects that go from a 1/3 of an acre to county-wide, right?
Awesome.
And they're all public. They're all about public space and public parks, but very different set of issues, from like making a 1/3 of an acre plaza vital in a downtown environment versus thinking about resources and diversity of experience within a countywide park system. So that to me is like, that's agency. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been lovely working with you.
Oh, you too.
And, I'm looking forward to the rest of the semester.
Me too, Catherine. She's got a hot project cooking.
Yes, we do.
Yes, you do.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.